so look at me. 2 times in 1 week, right? Today is Wednesday. I'm currently waiting on picking up my kids from school. I'm gonna give a shout out to my Wednesday shirt. This is my Wednesday shirt. I wear it every Wednesday. At least every Wednesday that I'm off. There was a Wednesday I wore it when I wasn't off, but I'm off today. So how's it been the past 3 days, right? How are we doing? I feel pretty good. But honestly, what happened Sunday was to be expected. I expected to feel that way. I usually feel that way every Sunday after I feel off the kids. And I still felt better that Sunday than I do most Sundays. Where it's a somber moment. You're trying your best just to survive. And I don't want to live my life that way. And I know that God doesn't want me to live my life that way either. So I just keep moving along, try my best to focus. I bought some stuff so I could, further study the word and everything. But that's where we're at. So we're just gonna keep this going, just to keep on seeing the progress. And after I got out of the shower and I posted about my morning prayer and everything, right before I started to get in the car, the Holy Spirit and I were just having a conversation. And we were talking, and he said something to me that I already know. But I'm going to share this with you, just to talk about it. So, one of the things that the enemy does to get to you is they talk to you about all your old wounds, They talk to you about, oh, look at that. That's still, it does not feel fresh, when they're digging into something like that. But here's something that, we had a conversation about. Jesus still has his wounds, but he is healed. You're healed. That's just the enemy trying to bring up old things about you. When you brought it to God, he healed you. Now you're going to have to learn from the consequences of those wounds. But you are healed. And healing is a daily thing as well. There are days where you're not going to feel the same every day. But it doesn't mean that it's not healed. It was healed by God. And here's another thing that we all know, but you just really need to think about it. When you feel bad, God is always good. When someone tells you God is bad, God is always good. God is always good. Always. So, I know things happen, and often we say people when it's the enemy utilizing people. And the enemy's going to constantly do that to you. It's going to constantly come at you. I mean, if you think about it, it's really his job. He is trying his best to deter people from God. And your attack would not be so relentless if you weren't on the right path. It'll also be easy to disable when you're on the right path. When you're not on the right path, it's hard to disable it. But when you're on the right path, you can disable it. And God forgives you for all of your shortcomings. Every single second of every single minute of every single day. You were forgiven before you were born. And you were chosen for this time. You were chosen. You have always been chosen. You were chosen for this time. Don't ever think that you're in the wrong time because you were chosen for this time. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. God is always right there. He's literally Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And He's also always with you. Always. You just gotta talk to Him. You just have to talk to Him. And I know it's really hard sometimes because you feel like you're just talking to yourself. But God is inside you. He's constantly with you. You're not just talking to yourself. There are numerous amounts of miracles that the world cannot explain. And the only explanation is God. There are numerous times in your own life where if you just really looked at it for a moment, the only explanation you have for it is God, because there's no other explanation. So, He's always had a hand on your life. His touch has always been there. His voice you can constantly hear. He's constantly talking to you. One of the things that the enemy tries to get you to not understand is that they deceive you. And I've been listening to different music and everything, and one of the songs, Paul and Silas by Brian T, right? And they talk about the fact that, we want your voice to be the loudest. God does not yell at you. He doesn't. Satan will yell. Satan will give you every single distraction he can. He will throw in every type of sound. That is an ungodly thing. God doesn't have to yell at you to get your attention. He never has. It's not God's style. God is love. God is gentle. Love does not boast. Love does not need to be loud. Love doesn't need to be loud. If you think of what the definition of love is, and if God is love, and love does not need to be loud, God is not going to yell at you. Just things to think about. So all that yelling and screaming and everything else is the enemy. Now what helps is that the Holy Spirit can quiet the noise where God's voice is the loudest. That's what happens. Everything else gets tuned out and all you can hear is God. But sometimes you just gotta go to a quiet place and get away from all the noise that you're putting yourself in. Everything that you expose yourself to is noise. And I know a lot of people probably in the past 2 years, looking over everything that I've been going through, are like, he posts a lot of different stuff about God. He's constantly talking about God. Yes, I am. Because that's all I want around me. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. Nothing else is as real to me as God. Nothing else. There may be things that I desire. There may be things that my flesh wants to do. My soul is so much stronger than my flesh. And I can deny that. And I've tried. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that I don't desire things that are not of God. But those are fleshly things. And I know those desires, when you fulfill them, they are short-lived. They have nothing compared to how God makes me feel. Nothing. And the other part of that is that so in place when I'm with God. It's such a different feeling. I feel so out of place when I don't have the presence of God around me. When I don't feel it, when I constantly hear all the other noise. But when I go into a quiet place and just sit and talk with the Lord, or I just go and I listen to just Christian music because that's all I really want to listen to. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. It's a loss. Like, I want people to look at me and see God. I don't want people to look at me and be like, oh, that's a good man, or oh, that's a really good work. Like, I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm doing it wrong. I really understand what Paul says when everything else is a loss. It's God. And anything you see from me, it's God. If you think I am great at something, it's God. God deserves all of that praise, because it ain't none of it me. There's none of it's me. It's all God. And if I am not portraying that, I am doing God a disservice. Because it's all His. He deserves every single bit of the praise. He's built me in such a way, and I just want to honor Him with everything I do. And He forgives me for all of my mistakes. He forgives me right away. He forgives me before He knows the mistake I'm going to make and has already forgiven me for it. He knows I'm going to do it. And He knows how to correct me. I fiend for His correction. I fiend for His voice. I fiend for His presence. I just want to be with Him. And I don't want anything to take me away from Him. Now, there's not saying that there's not things I desire to do, because there are, but like, at the same time, if it doesn't help me honor God, it's not worth it. And I know that. And it's hard some days. It's really hard. Like today, like, I get to see my kids. But the whole thing is, I get to see my kids. I'm in a situation where I only get to see my kids a few days every couple of weeks. And that's so hard. I so wanted to be in a place in my life where I was an everyday dad, but I don't get that anymore. And that's a struggle. It's a struggle to go through that. It's such a struggle to go through that. And I'm a better dad than my dad was. But my dad had the ability to see his kids every day. And that's not a knock on my dad. I just, like, I put a goal on myself to be a better dad than that. And it's just hard. It's just hard. It's hard. But it's okay. Like, when I'm not there, they've got God. And God's better than He's better than me. He's better than any dad they could possibly ever have. I just hope that one day God gives me the opportunity to be an everyday dad again. I hope that He gives me the opportunity to be a husband again. That's been really difficult for me too, like, wearing that. But I don't have to, like, wear it. And that's something I've really come to understand. Like, I don't have to wear it. Like, sometimes I put the weight on, and then I, like, put more weight on myself when I don't have to. I don't have to carry the load. I understand that I'm a very much a workhorse person. But I'm not a workaholic. Like I could go days without working. I just know that in my world that I'm in, that I work at, it's not really possible. Like once I start working and I work somewhere, I'm super reliable, so I become a workhorse. I get it. I get it. So like I'm starting to understand that though too. How God has really built me, and I'm starting to admire certain things about what God has put into me. Other things I can't completely understand. And I don't want to be a distraction to anyone else either. I'm not trying to promote myself. I don't want to be a distraction to anyone else's calling or anyone else's growth. I don't want to become a temptation. You know that feels really weird, and I said that to one of my friends yesterday, that I don't want to be a temptation. I think that's just more of the enemy trying to get under my skin so I lose a connection and disable that, when it has nothing to do with that, because it has nothing to do with me. Like that's the magical thing. Like it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. So I just keep on praying, and I'm so prayerful right now. Like I'm so in the right place. I've grown so much. I honestly feel like this is the best I've ever been in my walk with Christ. The amount of prayer that I do is outstanding right now. I'm so happy about it that I pray so much. I'm so happy I pray so much. Like, it's like it defines me, and that's so good. And I wish I could just pray more. I wish I could pray more. But this is probably it for today. I'm probably not going to do this again till next week, because I have to work the next 6 days. So, yeah, I'll talk to you later.